Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today's pick a card reading, we're looking at messages from your divine masculine. And so what I'm meaning by that is the part within you that aligns with what we tend to think of as the divine masculine sort of attributes like action, ambition, those sorts of things, and as opposed to divine feminine, nurturing, caring. So it's not about gender. You don't have to be a man or identify with being a man. You can be any gender, any identification that you want. But the concept here spiritually is that we both have divine masculine and divine feminine attributes within ourselves. So this reading is looking at what your divine masculine wants to say to you about your life and your highest well-being and highest good and for the good of others around you. And the inspiration for doing this reading came from my recent acquisition via Kickstarter by backing a Kickstarter campaign of a beautiful deck called the Brother to Brother Oracle. Now, those of you who come to my channel who are more familiar with what I guess we fondly call Tarot Tube, which is the broader sort of range of channels that look at tarot, whether it's pick a card readings or other forms of divinatory readings, or whether it's tarot deck reviews, or whether it's tarot discussions, etc., may be familiar with a wonderful channel called Masculine Intuition Readings run by Levi, and he is the creator of this beautiful deck. So shout out to him and to his wonderful channel and to this beautiful deck that he's created, which is picking up on a whole range of things. This deck has, and I shuffled and asked Spirit for 3 very clear masculine energy cards here as part of the reading, but I've also got a couple of other cards from his deck for each of the readings. I don't know what they are, they're just intuitively chosen. They pick up things like gemstones and sort of magical and spiritual sort of elements and practices and so forth. So it's a very broad and very interesting and very beautiful oracle. So I'm really excited to use it and to showcase it by doing a pick a card reading on the divine masculine. So if you've come here thinking this is a twin flame reading, this may not be the reading for you. Relationships could come up, twin flame relationships could come up. I don't know what's going to come up in the reading, but I'm going to try and keep it fairly broad and look at all the sort of aspects that could be messages from the divine masculine. So just sort of saying that as a bit of a spoiler alert in a way, so that if you were coming here expressly thinking this was going to be the divine masculine in a twin flame talking to the divine feminine, that's not what we are going to be doing. And indeed we will get some messages from the divine feminine as part of this reading, and it's part of your divine feminine. Okay, so with that explanation and introduction, I'll just put down the numbers as I always do for choosing the piles. So those who choose by numbers, do your thing. Maybe to help others who aren't sure, as I say, I did shuffle and ask Spirit to find me the first 3 as I dealt out cards that had definitive masculine entities and energies on it. So the first one is Mani Chase, the second one is Remember, and the third is Listen. So those particular images or those thoughts or words may call to you. Otherwise, pause the video and contemplate if you need, or meditate on it. When you know what reading or readings you want to go to, the timestamps, as always, are in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome, pile 1, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Mani Chase, which is a Norse god, and I'll have a talk about what this is all about in a minute. You also had B, which is about work, and Altar, which is about tidy. There's actually a pretty clear message in this, and to be honest, I think that right now in my life, Spirit's having a bit of a laugh at my expense, because it's probably a message I need to hear as well. But in any case, the interesting thing about this is that Mani is connected to the moon. He is a Norse god of the moon, so one of the few mythologies where the moon is represented by a male or a masculine entity. And the story is basically that every night Mani is chased across the sky by a wolf, and then is eventually devoured at the end of the day, so that then the sun comes up that has its own predator that follows it until the night comes in. So it's a never-ending cycle. So the question that Mani is asking here for you to reflect on is, are particular cycles or habits worth it if the outcome is always the same? So it asks to reflect, what would happen if the moon rose and the wolf didn't turn up? Would the moon still travel across the sky or would it be stationary? It's a really interesting question. I think your divine masculine is wanting to say, where are you putting your efforts and are they giving you the return you want? Because these two cards are connected to spring and it's all about clearing things out, getting things going and doing the work. So you have B, work, which is, of course, Bs are usually synonymous with the concept of work, often with work with others in community and so forth, but being very dedicated to doing something, seeing it from the beginning to the end, much as the wolf chases Manny across the sky from the beginning to the end. So this is around where you are putting your efforts, possibly in career, but it could be any kind of work. It could be anything or any type of activity, particularly if it involves other people, but even if it doesn't. And then we have altar, tidy. This is all about having a tidy altar, a tidy house, a clean space. And as I say, this is where I think that Spirit's having a little bit of a laugh at my expense because I need to do a spring clean and we are in spring in Australia at the moment when I'm filming this. So I think there's a little bit of a message. This doesn't often happen, but I think there's a little bit of a message from my divine masculine to me as well. But it doesn't have to be tidying your house, though. If you are like me and you tend to sort of let things accumulate and then you have to kind of clear it all out, there is a very cathartic and great sort of sense of achievement just in doing that and getting everything back in flow. But that little in-joke to me that I see here that some of you may relate to is this concept of every time I do it, every time I tidy up my house, I think, you know what? If I was just more disciplined and like didn't let things accumulate, that would be all I would have to do. I'd never have to do this again. But somehow I end up doing exactly the same thing and ending up in this situation again. So I think my divine masculine might be asking me to have a bit of a think about this. So there may be a similar thing for you here. I think the question, there's that whole old maxim that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So some of you may be in that space. Are you putting effort into relationships, people, spaces, all of that kind of thing that aren't paying off? Are you doing just out of habit? Or is it something that really this is something that you want to be dedicated to? And the fact that it is something that is cyclic is in fact part of what its strength is. So I think that this is a message from your divine masculine about where are you putting your effort and how are you keeping your environment supportive of you? And are you feeling like you are productively moving towards something that you want and you having control? Or are you feeling that you're always sort of like just one step ahead of the sort of predatory other energies in your life? So as we go through with tarot, we're going to look at this in detail. We're going to sort of see how this general theme around getting the right cycles, the right choices, the right activity and the right environment for you to be the most successful and to feel that you are leading out and deciding what to do rather than just doing something by habit or by necessity of other people's demands. I think this is the main thing that your divine masculine wants you to focus on. So we're using two different tarot decks. So I'm going to start with the Radiant Wilds Tarot because I feel it has a very strong masculine sort of energy to it. And we're going to ask about bit more clarity on the key messages that your divine masculine wants to say, and then their advice on how to move this forward. And then we're going to use the Monsoon Tarot, which feels more gentle and sort of feminine, for the viewpoint of the divine feminine in terms of this message. So firstly, let's get a little bit more detail to see if we can find out a bit more about what aspect or aspects of your life the divine masculine wants you to focus on to make decisions about where to put your effort next. Two of Cups, Judgment reversed, Nine of Cups, Five of Pentacles reversed, the Hanged One. Okay, so for a start, it's very interesting to me that the Hanged One came up. The Hanged One is often a card where we need to work out whether our perspective has got a bit stuck and whether we're being a little bit obstinate about something. So I do think that your divine masculine is saying, is something working in the way that you want to? Is it connecting you with the right people? It's very interesting here. We have the Five of Pentacles reversed, which is suggesting both materially in work that you might do, because remember the bee is very much a collaborative insect. Actually, I think I might move this up so that we can keep seeing them. Okay. So, sorry about that, pile one. I just thought that would be good. So I think there's definitely a sense of where can you collaborate with others? Where do you not have to be alone? And for some of you, this could be picking up around a relationship. So there could be a question here about in connecting with others, are you either too stubborn and you keep doing things the same way? Maybe you want to do all the work yourself rather than with others. Maybe you want to sort of lead out. Maybe you want to sort of make sure everything is ordered in your life, but there is actually a need to sort of connect more emotionally with other people. Or it could be that you need to sort of look at your decisions about things and what you might sacrifice or what you might compromise to have this good connection. There is a decision for you. This is why we've got this sort of sense of spring energy, like everything is starting to ripen, everything is starting to open up, and it could bring great happiness to you with the Nine of Cups here. Whether this is a choosing about being in a relationship and making the space in your work life and your home life to let that in, that could be very much a thing for some of you. Or whether it is around career, vocation, something like that, in connection with other people, there is a great joy to be had here. This is why your Divine Masculine wants you to look at it, because you're delaying the decision. You're kind of a little bit stuck. And this, I think, is the question. Are you stuck because ultimately, there is something different you want to do than what's on offer at the moment? Or are you stuck because you're used to following a cycle and this is a little bit different and maybe it offers more, but that's a little bit of a worry. So let's see what your Divine Masculine's advice is to move this forward, because the Divine Masculine will not want to stay stuck. It will want to be moving. It will want to be taking action. So, and there is a tendency here for you to concentrate either on just busy work rather than what would bring you joy, and on keeping the environment in control and everything like very regular and able to be seen, as opposed to the new thing that could bring in others and bring in joy. So depends on how this operates in your life, but I think there is a real call for you to think differently about something so that you can make a decision you're avoiding making. Because with the Judgment card, you have a little bit of time if it's reversed, but when it's upright and even when it's reversed, it's only a little bit more time. Often it's an offer, an opportunity, which if you don't make the decision to take it, it effectively becomes a no anyway because the offer disappears. So there's something that has a little bit of urgency, pile one, about it here. So what is your Divine Masculine's advice about this? Eight of Pentacles, Four of Wands reversed, King of Wands, the Emperor reversed, the Chariot reversed. Okay, so this is making it a little bit clearer. I think for most this is probably not in a love relationship. It could be. If it is, there are power issues you have to work out here to make a decision about whether or not this is truly a collaborative, connected relationship, or whether it's sort of like one person being the predator maybe. I mean, some of you may have an almost predatory and quite demanding energy around you. With the Emperor reverse, with the Four of Wands reverse, and the King of Wands, there could be that. So if you relate to being around a relationship, and it doesn't matter what gender the person is or you are, as I say, where you feel like you're being chased over and over and over, but you're not able to really kind of establish this in a combined and orderly sort of fashion, it might be getting you to make a decision about whether this is the right person. If not, it could be asking you to look at, are you too fixed in your ways? With the Emperor reversed, with the Four of Wands reversed, are you causing sort of unhappiness around people? Are you causing unhappiness because you're not making a decision on some level? With the Four of Wands reversed, is there disharmony around you being caused more from you not making the decision than from anything else? Are there clashes of potential ego around you and others? This is interesting because we're talking to your Divine Masculine. On one hand, we've got the King of Wands upright, which is a very positive card around that. It's like charismatic, it's action-oriented, it's passionate, all that thing. It's diligent, But on the other hand, we've got the Emperor reverse. So either you're in a situation what's making it hard to make a decision is it's not entirely in your control, or you may be warring within yourself. Do you want to be the wolf that's the predator, or do you want to be the moon? If it's around relationship, it might be that. How do you see relationships? So there's something around decision-making, action-taking, either in an environment where you have to work out whether you can have your way, or whether this is not the right environment for you, or whether you've got a bit stuck. And with the Chariot reversed here, with the Hanged One, it is definitely asking you to think about, is it your approach to things and the patterns you bring to things that are sticking you? Is that what's going on? Or is it genuinely, with the Emperor reversed, that someone's trying to make you do something you don't want to do? What your divine masculine is certainly saying here with the Eight of Pentacles is you have the skills and the knowledge to work this out. You're not sort of like naive about this. You've been around the block, literally, like you know this. This is like a bit like the Fool reverse. You're not naive about it. You can make that decision, but you need to work out, because there's some disharmony generally, or because you're not making a decision that is impacting whatever this is. And you've got to really be honest with yourself. Is it your own determination to keep doing the same thing regardless of whether it's working, or is it other people who are limiting how many choices that you have? Okay, so let's and I think once you know that, you can make the right decision, because as I say, you have all the skills that you need. So let's also get some cards from the Monsoon Tarot. As I say, this is a kind of a gentler imagery, so I'm just asking your divine feminine within to have her say as to what she thinks about this particular issue your divine masculine has raised. King of Water reversed, Six of Fire, Five of Water reversed, Six of Earth. It's really interesting, two sixes there, and then we have two water cards. Okay, so for a start, she's saying, you have this happiness that you could have, and the Two of Cups, better relationships, but you've got to let go of some old patterns around disappointment and wounding. So if this is around relationship, you have some woundings that you've almost kind of papered over by just keeping yourself busy, keeping everything under control, and just doing the same thing over and over. So she's definitely asking you to look at that. Are you carrying wounds that you could let go of? Because she's saying that you are ready now. There is an opportunity, whether it's in a relationship or whether it's in career and so forth. So if this is disappointments and wounds you're carrying from where you haven't been able to choose, where there's maybe been the wrong sort of like management around you or anything like that in a work situation, she's saying there is a real opportunity now for you to be recognized and for you to find the right people to collaborate with. Like there really is that sense. You could move forward, but it is with other people. Like there's something about other people here. And it feels almost like you've got kind of stuck in a pattern because other people have disappointed you, whether it's in love, whether it's in career, whether it's in spiritual approaches, whatever it might be. And I think that both your divine masculine and feminine are pretty much agreeing here. Your divine masculine just wants you to make a decision. Your divine feminine wants you to do it, taking into account what old wounding you can let go of by not just continuing in the same cycle. It really does feel like many of you have been putting a lot of energy into doing the same thing over and over. And whether, as I say, this is emotional or whether it's in career, and it's time to make a decision to liberate yourself a bit from whatever that pattern is. Okay, so wanted to get another sort of piece of support for you, I guess, like a god and also a goddess energy to help you with the divine masculine and feminine in this as well too. So this is kind of like spiritual support energy for you. So firstly, divine masculine spiritual support to help you make this liberating decision. So that it is okay to have cycles as long as they're working for you. Is it working for you, or is it like just kind of you're trying to keep control of things by keeping them the same and you're not feeling like you're moving forward? So the God energy that wants to help you here, pile one, is Loki, play. Okay, so that's an interesting thing. You're maybe a bit of a workaholic, actually. I do think most of this is around career, to be honest, and how much you do pursue your career goals, your vocation, and how much you feel constrained by other things or by repetitiveness in work and wanting to break out of that. Loki is here to say, start to look at it as fun. Where are you having fun? Which goes right back to this decision. Make a decision that makes you happy, not a decision that makes you think, well, this is what it means to be industrious, or this is what it means to have, a good, tidy workplace, for instance. Like, what will make you happy? Because otherwise you're continually being chased by the same cycle. Loki would probably say here to the Norse god, why don't you, set out some pranks to divert the predator, and kind of make the whole game and the whole dance different. Like, why don't you sort of, hide yourself and not shine your light or not reflect your light one night so they can't find you? Play. It's like if there is an energy around you where you are being constrained and forced into what feels almost repetitive and stuck, then Loki is saying, you just start mix it up a bit, have a bit of fun. You're going to find then a lot of this heals and you're going to be recognized and get the kind of resourcing and support that you need. Okay, so let's see a divine goddess as well to work with Loki here to get you out of a rut. Like, I think in a way, pile 1, you're in a bit of a rut. And I understand that. I think Spirit's having a little bit of a message for me too in this one. So anyway, the divine feminine, Oya, power. Okay, coming into your own power. There is something here. Like, so this is now really starting to clarify this. I do think that for most of you, if it's a relationship, you need to have more fun in it so that you can have more power. It's got a little bit stuck. And maybe it's not, it's more like the type of relationship you think you should have rather than the one you actually really want, or you're not being fun anymore in the relationship and your significant other's getting frustrated. You know, that's a possibility too if you're being a workaholic. But if this is in work, it's saying by mixing it up a bit, you come into your power again. You've got caught. It's like you're meant to move to the next step. The next step, you know, that's actually ready and waiting for you. You're just, for some reason, you're kind of like being a bit gun shy of it. So it's really just step forward into your power. Okay, so over here we had some cards from the Heart Code Oracle for some other advice around various aspects of life that your Divine Masculine would want to give you. So we bear this in mind in this overall message. So we'll start with lifestyle. Cycle, yeah, you're caught in a cycle. There you go. And it's okay if some of those cycles work for you. So say, for argument's sake, it was a cycle that you do to be physically fit, then if that's working for you, do it, you know? Like, if there are cycles in your workplace that work for you, work with them. But if the cycle has got boring or stuck, think about that, because it's impacting your lifestyle. It's not just impacting work. It's more than that. Or it's not just impacting a relationship, it's impacting your environment, your work, the sort of sense of self that you have. Let's see how it's impacting relationships. Observe, yeah, you need to look at yourself here. Look at your environment, look at where you're putting your energy, and look at who is around you and whether they're supporting you or whether they're keeping you stuck. Career, self-sabotage, yeah, you're probably doing that a bit. Because you could go so much further, and I do think for many of you this is about career or vocation. I think that the things that you've done to make yourself feel industrious and feel in control have got you stuck. You're self-sabotaging. There's so much more. If you have a little bit more fun with it and come into your power, pile 1. And then well-being, vision, yeah. So you have the vision. Use the vision to feel better and happy about things. You know, don't get caught. Don't keep yourself at one level when you could move to the next level. So I think it's a pretty consistent and clear message. Okay, so to finish up, pile 1, I want to do 2 things. I want to get some astrology and numerology advice from your Divine Masculine, and then we're going to use a card from the Success Oracles, because I felt like the energy of sort of people who are very successful in business or politics or whatever picks up some of the energy of the Divine Masculine. And so we might see what sort of example and advice, either humorously or seriously, that your Divine Masculine wants to close out with. But firstly, some astrology or numerology to also help you. 8. Yeah, you're a workaholic, all right. This is a hard work card, and there's nothing wrong with hard work. It's just as long as it's following the vision that you want and you're not sabotaging yourself. You know, you're not sort of cutting out the joy in life. So 8 can be a very powerful, positive number, but it is also a number of a workaholic. So I think there is a message there. Then we have Jupiter. You're meant to expand. You're meant to have fun too. Jupiter is about expansion. You're going to do well. Like, whether this is in love and it's going to be a good relationship, you know, once you kind of let it happen and kind of get into the fun of it again, or if this is around your career, you're going to expand. You're going to get better, but you're meant to have a bit of fun with it. It's not all meant to be so serious. And 8th house. Okay, and listen to your vision. This is why vision came up. Very psychic, very powerful on that level. You really kind of cramped it down, though, I think. If this is about a relationship, it's suggesting it's a very powerful psychic connection, so pay attention to that. Pay attention to what's sort of coming through in your dreams and so forth. Dreams could help you with vision and to break you out of this. Dreams in the moonlight hours, you know, dreams at night, definitely with the 8th house. It could also be around other people's resources. So if you are looking to get the support of other people, you know, like in fundraising exercise or a crowdsourcing or something like that, have a think about how to make sure that your work is all going in the right direction. It fits the right cycles, but is not. If something hasn't worked, don't keep doing the same thing. This is the message. It's like if it works, do it. But if it doesn't, and I think in at least one aspect of your life, something has become repetitive rather than helpful, then use your vision and so forth and think about how to work. They say work sort of smarter, not harder. That sort of energy, having a bit of fun with it. Okay, so as I said, speaking of fun, we're going to just draw a card from the Success Oracle. So these are successful people in business and life in general. So probably isn't as important who it is unless it sort of really relates to you, in which case take it, because I don't know all the people in this deck, to be honest. So I'm more interested in what their advice is. And it could be funny, and just take it as funny if that's the case. And with Loki around, it could very well be. But it could also be helpful as well. So we'll just see what we get. Martha Stewart. So for a start, I'd be saying that, don't ignore your divine feminine in this. She's maybe got the key. She's saying that if you kind of work out what was emotionally disappointing that you're trying to protect yourself from, you're going to then break through this. So I think the divine feminine's kind of going, yeah, this is about the divine masculine, and yes, there are action and decisions that need to be made, but the divine feminine has a point of view. She also says, be a life support system. So yeah, this life is about life. It's not just about work. She says spring cleaning is always in season. Yeah, there's something about this. And again, I think that the spirit is having a really big laugh at my expense right now. If you could see my apartment at the moment, you know why I'm saying that. And lastly, she says, turn your cottage industry into a castle. So yeah, make what you want, your vision, what you want to do, into what you want, not just into just chasing the normal sort of like average. There's something a little bit sort of expansive and exceptional and visionary that you're meant to do. And you really could do it very, very well, but you've got to let go of what hasn't worked and move into what will. So I hope that resonates for you, Pole 1. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pole 2, to your reading. So you've come to the reading with Remember, which is one of the guides in this deck. And so it is one of two cards that has a unicorn. And the deck talks about unicorns as being sort of guides that gently let us look at something. And this particular card is about remembering something. So it could be something as simple as remembering where you put something, that, where's the remote for watching the TV. But in a reading like that, this is obviously going to be something more. But it's guiding you to look back and remember something. Think about things like divine timing, when things worked out in a way you didn't expect, but they worked out for the best, even if you were worried about it. Or when things were particularly good, or something you need to remember that you wouldn't want to repeat. But there's something here that your divine masculine wants you to think about and remember. And it's because this is a period for you for introspection before you awaken something new, because you've also got the god Pan, and he is about spring. He is about all things that are new. There can be a trickster energy about Pan. There's fertility, there's love, there's passion, all those sort of things. For some of you, this might be about remembering patterns and so forth around a love relationship, introspecting because a new one is coming in. It could also be something about a career passion or a creative passion as well. But there is a timing to this, I think. These two are right now, I think. Your divine masculine is asking you to reflect back and to introspect about what you want, because new spring-like energy is coming through. Something is coming through, a relationship, as I say, or a career opportunity or a creative inspiration or a spiritual development, whatever it is. There's something in the past that's going to be relevant to it. So if it was a creative thing, it could be, you wrote a novel, for instance, and you sort of shelved it for quite a while, and now you're introspecting and you're thinking, actually, with a little bit of changing and restructuring, it could actually fit with the kind of books now that are becoming very popular. So you awaken it again and you make it something new. Or it could be not as taking literally the past forward into the future. It could be remembering some childhood dream you had, and you're actually working out now, if you think about it, you're ready, and all the sort of like signs in the world are there for you to start to awaken that dream. So, or it could even be a past love coming back, being reawakened. that's a possibility as well too. So it sort of depends. It could be any of those things. So we're going to use a couple of tarots. The first tarot is the Radiant Wilds Tarot, which I feel has a very masculine energy to it. So I'm going to use it for 2 questions of your Divine Masculine. Firstly, for a little bit more detail about what it is that the Divine Masculine wants you to introspect on so that you're ready to awaken, what new passion, idea, creativity, whatever this is. And then we'll ask for their advice specifically about this. And then we're going to use the Monsoon Tarot, which is a little bit more gentle in its imagery. So just to let the Divine Feminine have her say as well at this point of the reading. So a little bit more information firstly about what is this thing to remember and introspect on so that you are ready to awaken something new and vital and wonderful with the energy of Pan. So we have Justice, Ace of Swords reversed, 4 of Wands, Queen of Swords, 6 of Wands reversed. Okay. I feel that for most of you, I mean, there could be a relationship here, but this feels more like career or ideas or creativity or something. It's very, very mentally oriented with Justice here, Queen of Swords here, Ace of Swords reversed. Creative and mental in some way. So I think for many of you, this is about reviving some old project, moving forward and having a new contract at work that is coming in for you, a new job opportunity, for instance, and remembering, you know, a particular skill set that you had or how you might present yourself brings this contract in. But it is remembering and bringing back something from the past that you didn't progress. Because Ace of Swords reversed tells me that there is an idea that you have that you may be shelved for a long time. You didn't think it was the right thing for that time, but you are coming into a time where it could be really progressed and progress quite rapidly. To go from the Ace of Swords reversed to the Queen of Swords, there's a sense of this is why it's something that was very well formed, but you didn't take it forward. Or maybe you took it to a particular point, but now you can kind of take it to a higher point. It's an idea, it's a philosophy, it's a way of communicating, something like that. It might be why I was sort of talking about books. There could be writing, it could be writers that are here. Whatever it is, the environment and the people around are going to be far more open to it than they were before with the 4 of Wands there. But you're worried at the moment, and this is why you need to introspect, that you won't get the full credit for what you do with the 6 of Wands reversed. So it's saying there's a memory maybe of something that didn't progress as far as you could, maybe even something where somebody took the credit from you. But this is saying don't let that hold you back, because this is a better environment. You are going to be in a very strong position. And if you are looking for a new job or a contract around creative work or something like that, there's really good energy coming through. But there's something to introspect on so that you are most able to take advantage of this. So let's get the direct advice from your Divine Masculine then. Six of Cups. It's definitely something from the past that mattered to you. 3 of Swords reversed. And there was some pain. It was held back. It wasn't appreciated. King of Pentacles. Now you could make real money out of it. 9 of Wands. You just have to stick at it when it sort of feels a little bit hard. And the Moon. Okay. All right. So the reason that you know, we have the waning gibbous moon here, for instance. The reason why the moon is important and for your introspecting is there was some pain associated with this. It's like there was an idea you had. It could be an idea even about yourself and how you wanted to present yourself in the world, and it wasn't accepted by your family. Or it could have been an idea that was ahead of its time, I think, and that people couldn't see or understand, say in a workplace. And it was painful. So you're a little bit concerned about, will that just repeat? But this is saying no, it won't necessarily all be easy with the 9 of Wands here that suggests you'll hit points where you're thinking, can I see this through? But if you do, it is a much better environment. It'd be a classic thing for if you had an entrepreneurial idea in a workplace that you were in before and it didn't work. If you remember back about what was in that workplace and what is different about this one, you will get the confidence to move forward. This is meant to be resurrecting something that was important to you. So the conditions are a lot better for this than they were before. I think that's what your Divine Masculine wants you to know. If it's a relationship, it could be the return of a relationship, or it could be a similar relationship to one before, but one that again, the environment and the people around it, it's got more harmony, it's got more chance of longevity. So let's see what your Divine Feminine wants to say about this. The Fool, The Tower, wow. It's big changes. Temperance, very big changes. Five of Earth, yeah. You felt alone. Your Divine Feminine saying, whatever happened before, it really wasn't fair. You were rejected in some way, or your ideas were rejected, or potentially even stolen. And you felt like you were always alone. But your Divine Feminine is saying now there's a very big breakthrough. A very big breakthrough is coming in. And to go with that energy, to jump into the new, like very much, because you are going to be able to balance this as a much better environment. Or if it's a relationship, it's a much better relationship coming in than ones that you've had before. But you've got to be prepared to take that risk and move into it, and be prepared to make all the changes that are necessary. You are worried about being alone and out on a limb, but your Divine Feminine is saying you won't be. There's actually much more balance to this. This is the time. The time wasn't right before. And the Tower, again, it makes me think this is, for many of you, something very innovative, something that you were ahead of your time. I think you're probably someone who generally is ahead of their time. But every once in a while, the charm comes together and the new idea gets to awaken because all the conditions are right. And this is what this is. It's big, it's different, it's revolutionary in some way, or evolutionary in some way. So your Divine Feminine just wants you to go for it and not worry about being alone, because I don't think you're going to be. I think that the energy will be far more balanced than you think. Okay, so let's get you some God and Goddess energy, not just your internal divine masculine and feminine, but also, a God and a goddess around this to support you. So a God energy to support you stepping out into the new, and all the promise of Pan with awakening and reawakening, I think, something that didn't quite take before, but is ready to sort of be in its right environment. Now, pile 2, we get Dionysus, ecstasy. Okay. Well, if this is, because Pan and Dionysus, very similar sort of energy, if this is not about work and an idea, it's about a relationship, then you are meant to go into a very passionate, very enjoyable relationship. And it's a much better one than maybe one before. So if it is about that, but if you remember what it was that didn't happen, what went wrong the last time, I think you're going to see how different this is. If this is about creativity and career, you're about to go into a very enjoyable time, and you're just meant to enjoy it. Just trust it. Just go with the energy, because you're going to be able to make the best of it. Okay, let's see what a goddess energy is from your Divine Feminine. Gaia, creation. Yeah, okay. All right, so there's a couple of things actually with those coming up. So that certainly, if this is around a career thing, something new, you're going to be able to create it. That energy is there. The conditions are right for that, definitely. If it's around a relationship, then not only are the conditions right for an ecstatic, joyous, wonderful relationship, it's also possible, but the King of Pentacles here, Dionysus and Pan for passion, and Gaia, that this could be, like a long-term relationship, starting a family. If you are starting a family, if that's what you want to do now, and the time wasn't right before, then this is definitely saying the time is right, and you're going to enjoy the process in more ways than one, pile 2. So very, very positive. And if this is around, as I say, a creative project, everything is aligning for you. So let's see on a 3D level with the Heart Code Oracles. These were also under the Brother to Brother Oracle cards. So they're different aspects of life. So bearing in mind the message here from your Divine Masculine is about remembering something that didn't quite work, because you're going to be able to either do something similar but a bit different, or you're going to be able to resurrect it and really make it work this time. Looking firstly at career. Procrastination. Don't procrastinate. Yeah. This is the energy where you worry you're going to be alone. This is the energy with the moon where you're not sure. You are meant to remember and introspect, but do it for a particular time. Don't, even at most 1 month to go through all the cycles of the moon. Don't procrastinate. There is actually so much energy coming through for you. Around your lifestyle, relationship. Okay, so for many of you, this does connect to a relationship. It could be a work relationship, creative relationship, or a love relationship. But there is something very, very good coming through for your lifestyle around this. Then looking at relationship itself, safeguard. Okay, you're a little bit wary. So for some of you, you've been burnt by somebody romantically or career-wise. But I think your Divine Masculine is saying this is the introspection. If you remember that, that's your safeguard. Then you'll be able to have the right sort of relationships. Just don't use it as an excuse to procrastinate. And then around your general well-being, mindful. Yeah, be mindful. This is the introspection. That's all you really need to do, because all the other sort of elements are coming into play for you to make it work. Okay, so to finish off pile 2, what I want to do is a couple of things. I want to firstly do some astrology and numerology support for you. Then we're going to get a card from the success oracles, because I felt that kind of represents successful business and world leaders and that sort of thing, like the kind of divine masculine energy as well. But firstly, just get you some astrology and numerology support. Grand Cross. Okay, so whatever it was that you're remembering, it was tough, it was painful, and there's a lot, even in this environment, it's a good environment, there are going to be sort of like balancing forces you have to balance, and then they call to action. But like if you balance them and you use them positively, they'll work very well. But there is a tension. This is why you might procrastinate. Then we have 8. Yeah, a lot of you, this is about work or work with other people and so forth, and hard work. Hard work is important. But 8 is also very good for making money. That King of Pentacles, any of this that is around career or creativity could be very, very profitable for you. And mutable. Yeah, you just need to be a little bit sort of flexible to allow this energy to come through, not to get stuck in this, because like this could sometimes kind of like, you know, get everything sort of like working against each other. We will have a look at the planets, but if you're mutable and flexible and you sort of like put industry into this, you know, there is so much potential. So I'm just going to deal out till I get 4 planets. So in a Grand Cross, they're all kind of squaring or opposite each other. It is tensions to balance using the mutable energy that will make you really take advantage of this Pan, Dionysus, Gaia sort of energy coming through. So I'm just going to deal out till I get the cards. It can take a little bit of time because there's a lot of cards in this deck. Mercury, how you communicate with others. Black Moon Lilith, very attractive energy and great deal of passion. Like if this is around a love relationship, boy, it's going to be full on. It's a big relationship, very, very passionate. If it's around creativity, you're going to draw a lot of people to you using your communication skills. Pluto, very transformative. This is a Tower energy. Whatever it is, relationship, creativity, everything is going to shift and change as a result of this. And just be comfortable with that because it's meant to happen. It's a good thing. And Moon, yeah, your psychic energy and your emotions. Your emotions are very tied to this. And I think the cycles of the moon will really help you know when to communicate, when to draw in and when to withdraw, when to change and when to stay steady and cyclic. So I think getting those things, your communication, your attractiveness, your happiness with change and your emotions in balance through being flexible and diligent is going to be what works for you in whatever this is. But, you know, with all that kind of like Pan energy and Dionysus energy, it's not like it's not going to really feel so much like hard work. There's going to be a lot of vitality to it. Okay, so lastly, we're going to get a success oracle. This is less about who the person is because I don't know who all the people are in this deck. It's more about their advice, and it could just be humorous. So if it's just humorous, take it that way. But if it says something profound or the person resonates for you on a particular level for your current life choices, then take that as well. So you have Naomi Klein. So I don't know a lot about Naomi Klein except that she's an author and she's quite into sort of like dealing with radical change and so forth. So it fits with the Tower energy. It fits with some of this. So I definitely think there's an energy here about voicing your viewpoints, moving forward with something, shaking everything up, stirring everything up that she is resonating with here, that fits this energy for your divine masculine. I also think the fact that it's a feminine person who has come up here indicates that your divine feminine has a lot of good advice for you around this about really being the radical, like the Fool and the Tower together is very much like her energy, I think. So, you know, and don't worry about being alone. You know, sometimes you have to bring the shock of the new in. Her advice is peddle goods about bads. So sometimes telling people what isn't working, you know, and looking back and introspecting can be a bit of a way of, you know, having value. She says dissent is a stable currency. So, yeah, don't feel that you shouldn't speak your truth. And she said org against ink. So she was very much, I think, about getting away from illegitimate power. So there could be something about this for you. But otherwise, I just think it's her courage. I think there's a lot of courage here for you to move forward with something that is, as I say, a relationship, an idea, a creative thing, a career thing, whatever it might be. The conditions are much better now for you to be true to you. So I hope that this resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear about it. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Listen, which is one of the guides within this deck. And then we also have Observatory Gaze and Lavender Uplift. I feel this group, it's probably of the three, the one where it's the most spiritual message coming through from your Divine Masculine. I felt like the others are more about creativity or work, more than anything else. Everything always has a spiritual aspect, but this is very much about getting the messages from the universe and enjoying life and seeing life and putting it all in perspective. It's about synchronicities. It's about angelic messages. It's about messages from your guides. It's about taking the time to pay attention and put things in perspective. Listen, the deck creator Levi talks about having had an angelic vision at one point and realizing at that point, no matter how much one might learn or study or do anything like that, like very material things around spirituality or learning or whatever this is about for you, sometimes it's just better to listen for your inner voices, your angelic guides, your spirit guides, because something is trying to come through. At this point, your Divine Masculine is saying information is coming to you, and it's possible at the moment that you're so busy trying to study or work it out intellectually that you're just not hearing it and it's being said to you. I think that many of you are probably highly clairaudient, but you may not think you are, because I think people think clairaudient, you have to literally hear the voices, and some people do, but like you don't have to. Sometimes it's just being aware of nuance and cadence, and that things come into your mind that are not your natural linguistic way of phrasing things or an idea that you would not naturally think. These are things where you're being clairaudient. So I think there's a very strong thing here about that. We have observatory gaze. This is about, in a sense, being like gazing up at the stars, seeing the big picture of things. And it's all about getting perspective. So there's and then there's lavender uplift, and lavender is not only about relaxing sometimes so that you can hear, tuning out the white noise so that you can see and hear what you need to hear, but it's also about, enjoying life and the uplift and seeing what's all around you. So I think that there's sort of like a dual message here from your Divine Masculine. I think it's saying that there is something meant to come through for you, some sort of inspiration, some sort of guidance. There are synchronicities. This is an important time, and we'll see with tarot, see if we can get a little bit of an idea about what it is you're meant to be listening for and looking out for. But you're also meant to be in life while you're doing it. So it's saying tune in, but don't tune out as well, if that makes sense. It's sort of like you're probably reasonably good at watching life, but maybe in a less uplifting and a more serious way. So there's a little bit here about enjoying life and seeing the enjoyment in life, because that allows the messages to come through and it gives you a different perspective. So what we're going to do is we're going to use firstly the Radiant Wild Tarot, because I feel like it has quite a strong masculine energy. And we're going to ask for a bit more of information about what this key message is, to see if we can work out what it is you're meant to be paying attention for. And then we'll ask for your Divine Masculine's advice. Then we're going to use the Monsoon Tarot, which is a sort of a gentler sort of colouring energy to get the answer from the Divine Feminine. But firstly, let's see if your Divine Masculine can be a little bit more precise about what it is you're meant to be listening for, watching out for, and being in life to get those messages for. Knight of Pentacles, the Emperor, Strength reversed, Nine of Wands, Wheel of Fortune. Okay, I think for most of you this is probably around work, or it's around something where your power in the world, your presence in the world, and very much your Divine Masculine sense needs to be revived. But it's also to give you an idea about what to dedicate your time to. So it may be for some of you, you are just so overworked at the moment, and this may relate a bit to one of the other readings. You might have gone to more than one. So overworked and so sort of, overwhelmed that you're not hearing your guidance, you're not seeing things in perspective, you're not enjoying life, you're just very earnest. and it's all about power and you know, like the sort of, as I say, action-oriented, divine masculine sort of energy, but it's sapping your strength if that's the case. So your divine masculine is saying that if that's the case, you need to kind of step back and get perspective and listen for the cues and enjoy life a bit more, revive yourself a bit more. If you're not feeling overworked, then there is something in your workplace which, if you listen and watch for these cues, you will turn what might have been a disadvantage into an advantage for yourself. And if it's felt like, can I keep going where I am, you will be able to, because much better fortune's coming in. This is why the Wheel of Fortune is. This is why your divine masculine wants you to be listening and watching out for things. There are synchronicities and signs for you so that you get your second wind and you reach the good fortune, that you can get revive your strength and you can work out what it is you want to dedicate your action to. Okay, so let's see what the specific advice of your divine masculine is then in picking up the right cues so that you can get to that Wheel of Fortune energy. 10 of Cups reversed. 4 of Pentacles reversed. Page of Pentacles reversed. Page of Wands. The Fool. Okay. I do think there's a big change you're in some aspect of your life. And for most of you, I think it's going to be around sort of career or where you're putting your kind of material energy. Some of you, it may be around a relationship with the 10 of Cups reversed. But there's something about what you dedicate your time and energy to that your divine masculine wants you to kind of reconsider, because they're saying it's not making you happy. You might be sort of very loyal to it, but it's not making you happy. For some of you, it might be that you've been following a career or a purpose that fits in with your family, but it's not really what you would have wanted to do. Particularly maybe your paternal influence. So your divine masculine wants you to listen and go within and see perspective to work out what isn't quite working here. And that will release some of this sort of like material pent-up energy that you've got. There is a change and there's a planning. Once you've done that, once you've got the information and the perspective, that's when you need to plan what you want to do materially. Because at the moment you're in response mode. You're not listening to your inner self. You're not seeing perspective. You're just kind of responding to whatever's being required of you. And it's exhausting. We've sort of seen with the 9 of Wands. What your divine masculine is saying is going in and listening and looking for the signs about why it is that you're unhappy, what you need to shift materially. And then you need to plan, because the Page of Pentacles reverse suggests that you're not planning what you want. You're just responding, as I say. When you start planning and you use your own creative energy, you have a whole new world, a whole new approach with the Fool. With the Wheel of Fortune there, very, very positive. But you have to liberate yourself by working out what it is that isn't working for you so that you can start to plan for what would work for you. So let's see what your divine feminine can say to help you out with this. Because that's a little bit easier said than done if you're feeling like very sort of put upon in your world. But certainly your divine masculine is saying you're very psychic, you're very intuitive. Getting into that energy would be important. Makes it particularly important to see what your divine feminine wants to say. 6 of Fire. 7 of Water reversed. 3 of Fire reversed. Wheel of Fortune reversed. Yeah, they're both saying the same thing. There's something going on in the environment that you're in, the people that you're around, whether this is in career, whether it's around relationships, friendships, whatever it is. There's something where there is disharmony and that's blocking your good fortune. It's saying it like you don't be sentimental about this. Like something about the Knight of Pentacles is you may have felt, regardless of whether it was making you happy, you had to do this stuff, to look after others, look after your friends, look after your family, whatever it might be. If it's your family, it's a different sort of thing, I guess. But let's say friends, colleagues, that kind of thing. Or even your family that you were born in, if they had expectations of you and you're now either on your own or you've got your own family, you might still be sort of harkening back to some sort of sense of loyalty. But it's not paying off for you. Your divine feminine says, be a little bit more pragmatic about what you feel. You're meant to be much more successful than you are so far allowing yourself to be. You're meant to be recognized. But trying to be what everybody else wants and being reactive, you're not using your own strengths. You're sapping your own strengths. Just being realistic about this and listening again. These messages are trying to come through. This perspective is trying to come through to you so that you detach a bit and you work out what would make you happy. Okay. So let's get you a God and Goddess energy as well. So this is your divine masculine and feminine. Let's get a kind of more archetypal God level energy to help you. Firstly, a divine masculine God for you. Zeus, leadership. Yeah, you're meant to come into your own power. You've been, this is the emperor. You're meant to be the emperor. You're meant, in whatever that means. It's not about gender again. You're meant to be a leader. You're meant to have some dominion, but like you've kind of had all the loyalty and the dedication, but not the rewards. And it's because I think you're very caring. And this is partly because you're very psychic and you're very empathic, but you're meant to start to hear about what you're meant to do, like how you're meant to be in the world. Let's see what a divine goddess is saying to you. Athena, strategy. Yeah, that's what your divine feminine wants you to do. Wants you to be more in your head and less in your heart at the moment, because there's something, all this messaging, all this energy is coming to you to give you the strategy for you to move into your leadership role, whatever that means to you. You're very, very caring, and it's fine to care, but you need to put it into a strategy and put that caring where it deserves to be put, and not where people are just taking advantage of you, whether consciously or not. I'm not meaning to demonize the people around you, but you have reacted and responded rather than planned and gone forward. And this is what you're meant to do now, because you're more than capable of it, pile 3. So let's see how it plays out in the 3D. So underneath the cards from the Brother to Brother Oracle, there's also Heart Code Oracle cards with different aspects of life. So I might actually start with career. So career for you. Opportunity. Yeah, there's opportunity coming, all right. Don't let the sort of like sense of being beholden to everybody else or so busy and so overwhelmed that you won't actually hear it and see it coming. You're meant to give yourself a bit of detachment and a little bit of more revitalization so it comes through. So then what does it say about lifestyle? Criticism. Okay, you might be worried if you don't keep responding to everything, you're going to get criticism. But I think this is saying if that happens, it just tells you that these are people that were not worth the effort. This being a little bit more pragmatic is going to take you to those who won't criticize you but will actually congratulate you, but you may have to go through that to get to the strategy and get to your leadership. Relationships, chance. Yeah, it might feel a bit like chance. This could be a very important new relationship coming in that you have to listen and hear for, and stop being everything to everybody so that you can give it a chance. It might be that there's a relationship which you felt was a bit out of balance, and you've got to give it a chance by seeing whether you can be you. And if you can truly be you rather than just what they want, then that relationship lasts. If not, you move on. So there is an element of chance, an element of seeing what happens with this that you have to be prepared to go through. So in terms of well-being, hydrate. Okay, this is very literal. Keep yourself hydrated, keep yourself sort of nourished, all of those sorts of things. I also think if you're feeling, there's a lot of sort of like Wands energy and kind of like Mars type of energy around this in with your divine masculine moving forward. So I think it's almost like hydration, like water, that like keep the divine feminine sort of aspects in balance as well. Okay, so what I want to do to finish off the reading for you, pile 3, is firstly I want to get some astrology or numerology energy, and then we're going to get a card from the Success Oracles, because it sort of represents, in a sense, some of the sort of divine masculine theories and approaches that would be helpful. Sorry, I just paused for a second because I thought somebody was coming up the stairs, but anyway, that's not the case. Okay, so getting back into it, your divine masculine, the energies that can help you and be fruitful for what you're wanting to bring into being. Saturn, yeah, you do need to be a little bit disciplined around this. I think you've just been very responsive to other people. You've got to be a little bit Saturnian, a little bit what is right for you. What do you want to really manifest? Mercury, and you've got to communicate it. You can't just think it. You'll get a lot of communication coming to you. You might, in fact, have some very Saturnian sort of like guides that are a little bit stern. They're trying to get a message to you, but they're doing it for your well-being. And conjunction. Okay. So this is going to bring the right connections in for you, definitely. So if you are worried about that, it might bring a new relationship in, and so watch for the synchronicities and signs there. It will bring the right people. The right people will be there, even if others leave. Let's just see what planets are in the conjunction. So I'll just deal out till I get planets. Okay, Uranus. So change energy, necessary at this point for you. and the moon, change emotionally, definitely. So this is all about shifting and having a bit of a revolution around how you feel and how you communicate your feelings to others. And your psychic energy, as I say right from the beginning, you're a very psychic group of people. Okay, so to finish off, we're just going to pull a Success Oracles card. That may just be amusing. I don't always know who these people are, so if the person relates to something for you, then take that. If the advice relates for you, take that. Otherwise, just take it as an amusing way to end the reading. So for you, we have Tyra Banks. Okay, I know who Tyra Banks is. The interesting thing is that every single one of these readings, it's been a female who's come up here. So I think it's just really your divine masculine tilting and tipping its hat to the divine feminine, saying the divine feminine has some good advice here. Tyra Banks says, learn to be a natural. Yeah, be a natural who you are rather than what everybody else wants, pile 3. She says signature walks include well-timed pivots. Yeah, when you need to change, listen to the signs, watch what's going on, get perspective and pivot when you need to. And she says model your business model. So yeah, it has to be yours. There's something about really owning who you are that this is about. And your psychic ability will really help you with that. So pay attention to that. You're very strongly psychic. So I hope that resonates for you, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.